another brand new episode of the Otafest podcast. It's so new that you can't get it at the car dealerships because of the chip shortage. With me today is Nancy and Jay.
A chip shortage.
It's me.
Hello.
I can't believe they've done this.
It is you, and it's me.
Yeah, have you gone to the stores lately? They don't have any sour cream and onion. Barbecue, they're down to like 2 bags. And last time I even checked, there's not even Fuego Taki.
What? That's illegal.
I don't eat regular chips anymore. I eat Korean turtle chips.
Oh my gosh.
I've actually been all about the Takis for quite a while now. About like 6 or 7 years ago, my nephew moved back from Texas and brought me a pack of the Fuego Takis, and I tasted them, and they were the most flavorful things I'd ever had. And then I saw them come to Canada like 2-3 years later, and I was like, yes, I want these.
Where does one obtain Takis so that I may have
Almost
some?
everywhere.
Everywhere. They're not specialty snacks anymore.
And I was being facetious about the chip shortage relating to potato chips or corn chips.
We will talk about the chips
Yes.
next episode.
Yes.
Turtle chips. You guys are missing out. You don't know.
I don't know turtle chips. I've never heard of turtle chips before. But before we get too far into things, we are so excited to announce our next guest, Keith Silverstein. Keith Silverstein is a veteran voice actor with a diverse list of credits. He's Zhongli in the worldwide sensation Genshin Impact. He's Tarbjarn, ready to work. In Overwatch, he's Hisoka in Hunter x Hunter. Hawk Moth in fan favorite Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. And Speed Wagon in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. For more info on Keith Silverstein, visit his website at www.keithsilverstein.com.
And it is my unfortunate duty that we have some sad news. It is with a very heavy heart that we must inform you all that Billy Kmetz and Erica Lindbeck will be unable to attend Otafest 2022. They are really, really saddened and disappointed by this unavoidable development, as are we. We hope to be able to show them our fine city and its people in 2023. But for some good news, drop by our booth at Calgary Expo this coming weekend. Our staff will be there with happy faces, treats, and merch, and y'all can grab your weekend passes for Otafest. We're also hosting a History of Anime Fandom in Alberta panel on Friday night. See you there.
Erica, Billy, one way or another, we will drag you, kicking and screaming, to Calgary, and you will have an amazing time.
We will wine and dine the heck out of you.
Hell yeah.
It's true.
3 years now in the making we've been trying to get them here. The universe is against us, but we're stronger.
We'll overcome those odds. Oh, we will. Just you wait, universe.
In the immortal words of Scorpion, get over here.
It's true.
So how many of you are gonna be at Calgary Expo?
I am only one person, so one of me will be
One
there.
of you.
There will be none of me there.
There will be no Angelos. That's sad. There will be a Nancy
There might
there.
be some Angelos, just not this one. There's at
Aw,
least 4 other
that's a
Angelos
shame.
that I know of in Canada.
Really?
One of them even has the last name starting with V.
Oh.
In high school, that really threw some substitute teachers for
Did
a
you
loop.
at least look very different?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. The other Angelo
Okay.
V looked like an absolute metalhead.
Whoa.
Actually, now that I think about it,
You kind of did too, honestly. If you put on like the Canadian tuxedo and had some patches slapped onto the vest, you would as well.
He had just a little bit more of that stereotypical olive skin, so he was just a little bit darker than me, and his hair was black instead of dark brown. So it really was just like, oh, there's the one with the straight hair and the one with the curly hair. Okay.
Oh my.
You should have just worn hats.
We weren't allowed to have hats in school. Do you forget this?
Yeah.
Do you forget this?
Yeah, we were always told.
I wore hats in school.
We were always told to take our hats off in school.
Yeah.
which is why I just never wore any.
I was a bad
Like,
boy.
I feel
Bad
like
boy
once
Jay.
a month, once
I was
a
a
month,
rebel.
on like the last Friday of each month, we would have a hat day where you would have to pay a fee of $1 to have the right to wear any hat you would like.
Capitalism.
Wow.
And I forget what the $1 would go to.
Snacks for the class? Like,
It went to either some like
Pizza
charitable thing or
parties.
some school funding thing. It might have been for funding the track team. I don't know.
I would
Pizza
rather it have gone
parties.
to charity at that point.
But that was the thing.
Kids are not the group that need to be giving to charity.
I mean, no, I don't think so at all. But like, if you're gonna
Don't
fund
source your
something-
charity
No,
bucks.
if you're gonna fund something with my hat money, at least fund something I get something out of.
That's
I think it
pizza
actually
party.
was one of the sports.
Yeah, pizza party would be
one
great.
of the sports things. I think it was like funding the track team or something, and that's okay. That's fine.
Pizza
Pizza
party.
party.
Do you guys remember
Pizza and
those
chips.
those vanilla ice cream cups?
Yeah, the ones with the wooden paddle.
Yes, and it
Oh,
came with a
okay.
wooden paddle spoon, and it basically tasted more like wooden paddle than it did
Yes,
ice
because
cream.
all you can taste is the wooden paddle and not the ice cream. Same with
Yes.
when they used to bring us in
Quality.
the no name orange sickles.
Oh God, I
so
love
the
those.
the orange on the outside was fine, but the ice cream on the inside, the top bit was good, and then the closer you got to the popsicle stick, the more
It
just
tasted more like popsicle stick.
I didn't mind that. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, orange
didn't mind
creamsicles
that?
are so
Quality.
good regardless. I love them.
Boy, have I got
Like,
a perfume for
I've
you.
I've
I like
had like
creamsicles.
mid-tier creamsicles, and I've had really good ones. The really good ones are obviously better, but even like the mid ones, I've
However.
never had one that's actually bad. That I've actually been like, I regret eating that orange creamsicle.
Orange creamsicle is a combination that's really difficult to screw
It
up.
is. Like, so even if you have like the popsicle stick wood flavor in
Vanilla,
there, it's like,
sugar,
yes,
And dairy.
and orange.
barrel-aged
The
creamsicle.
dairy is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the best school lunch you ever had?
Like, as in lunch
Ah.
provided by the school?
Yes, lunch provided by the school, even if you had like pay for it or whatever it might have been. But the idea is you didn't pack it.
Poutine.
Your parents
So-
didn't pack it.
Poutine.
In like grade school back in Ontario, we very rarely had anything of a meal provided by the school, and almost always it kind of sucked. So it wasn't until I was in college that I actually had a school lunch, if you will, worth talking about. And that was at St. Clair College. There was the sports bar, if you will. That's what it was in the college, called Griff's. And they had a little window out to the main halls where you could get like quick lunch things. And so they had this $5 meal deal, which was a big ass slice of super fresh, awesome pizza. And you would get like a big ass bottle of like Coke or whatever the hell with it. And so I would always get that. I would always get that pizza. It was so fluffy. It was hot. It was steaming. The cheese was good. The pepperoni was great. They only had like pepperoni and one vegetarian option. Both of them were pretty good. But then I would just take it over to like the sidebar, cover it in chili flakes, cover it in Tabasco sauce, and then head back up
my
to the
God.
second floor to the Wi-Fi lab. Where everyone's
God.
laptops would be. And it was great. It was amazing. I had that more times than I can count. I probably had that like 3 times a week.
You've just reminded me of my very first encounter with minestrone. And it turned out that it was my favorite ever soup ever. But like the first time I ever encountered it was in a school cafeteria. I had no idea what it was. I just saw it on the menu. It was one of 3 things that you could get that day. And it was the one that I couldn't identify that delightful smell with. So I figured that's probably the one. But I didn't know how to say the word. Minestrone is not an easy word to read if you're just...
Yeah,
Minestrone.
So I went up.
This is minestrone, not
I
yours.
went up with my pocket change adding up to exactly like $1.75 or whatever it was that they charged us for this big bowl of soup.
Little Nancy.
And like, I very confidently said minestrone wrong. And she just smiled at me and said, "Yes, dear. 1 bowl of minestrone for you." And I was like, "Thank you." I was so embarrassed.
It's
I was
graceful.
So
It
embarrassed.
was graceful.
And then, like, this was like grade 7. But the next time they had minestrone, I knew how to say it right. And she was so proud of me the next time I went up to go and get
Let's
it.
go.
That's
Lunch
good.
lady MVP.
I don't know if it was the best lunch I've ever had from like school, but it was the most memorable because I was like, what is this? And then I also just liked it a lot, which was when I was in I don't know, it was maybe like grade 5 or something like that. It was wintertime and they had like a sugar cabin.
Oh, Caban de Sucre.
Yeah, sure, that thing. Where for people who don't know, for some reason, it's like they have like fresh snow on like a tabletop or like a almost like a bench spread out, and then they literally just pour like hot, fresh maple syrup onto the snow,
Oh,
and then you take a
yeah.
stick and then you sort of roll it from one end to the other to make sort of like a maple syrup lollipop.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I mean, it's certainly not a whole lunch, but it was something very memorable, and I haven't had that in years, and I would love to do it again.
Well, it's still cold outside,
Just
and we
go-
keep getting
Jay,
snow.
just go buy yourself some maple syrup at the store. Do you have a balcony at your current place? I
No,
feel like
I
remember
just-
you had. Just go outside to the sidewalk, dump it on the ground, and roll up.
No, you do not want road salt
with the-
mixed in with your maple syrup, sir.
It adds flavor.
No, but salt. Clearly, it would add
Maybe not road salt.
a more complex
No.
flavor, sort of like
But
salted
not
caramel.
road salt, no.
Why not?
Well, road salt's got other stuff mixed in with it that's really not good for you.
Minerals, nutrition.
There's a lot of things that I eat that aren't good for me. I had fried chicken last night.
Oh
I mean,
my
if you're
god.
gonna put it in that context, at least fried chicken's edible.
Everything's
To a-
edible
to
once.
a degree, I guess. But if we're gonna go down this route,
No, not to a degree. Everything is edible once. Magma is edible once.
Oh
I don't think
no,
so. I don't think that's how it works.
no.
Lots of
You
concentrated
know what?
minerals and magma.
Sometimes you just want to eat garbage, you know? Sometimes you're in the mood where it's just, yeah, I'm not going to eat healthy this entire weekend, maybe this entire week, for one reason or another. Sometimes it's just the mindset that you find yourself in. For me specifically, Dio went on vacation. Longtime listeners of the podcast will sometimes learn that Dio and I live together. So I am all alone with the dog for this coming week. And so my plan
Well, I know what I'm doing this coming week.
is I'm going to go to the grocery store, get some snacks, run to the liquor store on the way home, get some booze. And I don't know how much of this weekend I'm going to remember.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm not going to drink that much.
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to ride a nice buzz for the weekend and no one can stop me. But
I had a really weird segue for when we were talking about orange creamsicles and you not minding the taste of popsicle sticks.
yeah.
And I was gonna say, I have perhaps been sampling many types of perfumes and colognes lately. I have been experimenting. And I have found one particular note that literally smells like you're standing in the middle of a lumberyard. And I feel like that's something that vial is one I will give you.
Oh, is it like
just
cedar
just
or
to
sandalwood?
add some aromatherapy to your experience this
Hell
weekend.
yeah. So like basically when you're in that mood where you just want to eat garbage, where you just want to vibe, I'm fairly certain that is what is known as gremlin mode. Have you guys ever heard that description for it, gremlin mode?
Okay, I feel like gremlin is a term I have heard used a lot lately, but not specifically for this. Specifically, it's like when you feel like you're just in 100% scrub mode. I do not care about my appearance, what I'm eating, how I look, how I smell.
Exactly.
That's like 99% of my day. But I don't know about this gremlin mode idea so much as I exist in gremlin hours.
Gremlin hours
or not
is
gremlin
definitely
hours.
a big part of gremlin mode.
Goblin hours.
So
Goblin
gremlin
hours.
mode
Goblin
is a very
hours.
flexible thing. You can turn it on whenever you want.
Yeah. Like goblin
From what
hours
I'm
is when like
understanding.
you are specifically trying to
It's
be
like
productive
3
at
a.m..
3 a.m. When that is your time to do things. Whereas
It's your time to shine.
like gremlin mode or
Yeah,
even
but there's
goblin
still
mode?
some like energy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If that makes any sense. On the unhealthy food, I've been nostalgically reminiscing about sort of a breakfast food that I used to have, not regularly, but like probably once a month or once every couple of months as a kid. And when I say as a kid, I mean like as a child. I don't know if Nancy's ever had this. It's, I think, sort of a Hong Kong cuisine.
Oh, hit me with it.
Basically, I think it's like a chicken broth or some kind of clear broth. Could be veggie broth, but it's definitely not beef. And then usually they'll have like some stewed onions in there.
Oh.
Nothing crazy. And then they'll have some like macaroni noodles in there.
Oh.
And then they'll either have ham or thinly sliced spam in it.
Cubed spam.
Or cubed, yeah.
Like
So
little,
you know.
little cubes. Little
And
cubes.
it's very like,
nourishing.
it's just like salty.
Yep.
It's hot.
It's nourishing.
There's something to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't describe it. To anyone who's like, that sounds terrible, I'm like,
No, why would that sound
try
terrible?
it.
No.
It's
No.
it's great.
You're describing it a little differently. So the way I typically describe it is it's like if you had noodle soup.
Yeah.
Except instead of noodles,
sounds like
it's
chicken
like
noodle soup.
soft macaroni.
Yeah, like it's overcooked macaroni.
It's very soft macaroni.
Yeah.
And then like you don't do the thing like when in Italian cuisine where you cook to al dente and then you do like sauce cooking. No, this is like boiled 100% all the way there macaroni. And then my mom switched from spam to I think it was just like regular like Black Forest ham. She cubes that up.
Oh.
And she also adds in like diced Chinese greens, whatever ones
Nice.
we have on hand. So it really does resemble a soup noodle, but not noodles. It's macaroni, and it's just exceptionally nourishing. It's warming. It warms you up from the inside. It's just
Yes.
a really nice day to start off.
Because there's like spam in the original recipe,
Uh-huh.
you basically don't even need to add seasoning.
No, you
because it has
don't.
spam.
All your salt is there.
All your salt is there. You add some chicken broth.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, you put a little bit of chopped onion in there just to give it a little bit of vegetal texture. And then maybe some black pepper if you're feeling like fancy.
Real fancy.
Yeah. And also, if anyone wants to talk down on spam, if you eat hot dogs, don't even talk to me about it.
So
Don't even approach me.
But you can slice hot dog like into little coins, and you can
Oh,
put
I
it
know.
in that
Oh,
as
true.
well.
You could use that instead. I'm just saying for people who don't like the idea of spam, I'm like, if you've had hot dogs or like a pate of some kind, don't come at me.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah, that
even.
seems like an odd hang up. An odd.
So when I was a teenager, I absolutely was hung up about spam like that. I was like, ugh, spam? That's just, ugh. Why would you want spam? Brr. And then it occurred to me once I was an adult. I was like, wait a minute. I've never even had spam. Why do I have this aversion to it? Like it's just like that cultural hallmark, if you will, of spam equals bad. Like spam being associated with that unwanted thing like spam email and things like that.
It is gristle and the cheap meats, but it is spiced, like seasoned in a nice way. And when you fry it up, you don't even need to add oil to your frying pan.
You do
You can
not.
literally start the pan cold,
Oh, yeah.
put in some slices,
Just let it.
put it on low to medium heat, and just let it start crisping it up.
And
Oh, it's so good. And then you make some rice. You put the spam on the rice. You fry up an egg in the leftover grease.
Hell yeah, that sounds
You
amazing.
put it on. You let the yolk run. You add a little bit of soy sauce just for some extra umami boost. It's simple. Both of the things I've described are like 4-ingredient foods. They are nice.
So I actually had spam for the first time a
Okay.
few weeks ago. So
Okay.
Nice.
I
Tell me
went
more.
to a Korean restaurant with Alfred, and I went there with legendary cosplayer Ozzy J. Lee.
Oh hey.
And Dio came with us as well, and we had the Korean Army soup, which includes the spam. And I gotta say, it was really good.
I have to say, I'm actually surprised that a restaurant would serve army soup. It's not because it's bad, but because as I understand it, it has connotations because it's called army soup for a reason. Connotations of not just it being sort of like a cheap food to make, but because it sort of came from hard times.
Yes.
So it's actually not common to see it on a Korean menu. At a restaurant. I don't personally think there's anything bad with it, but I can understand that there's a cultural sensitivity to serving it as like a recognized part of Korean cuisine.
That's fair.
So as far as I'm concerned, like it tasted fantastic. It was absolutely great. And when you look at the ingredients list, it is literally the traditional army soup was
Yeah.
whatever the Koreans could scrounge together, often based off of U.S. Army rations. So spam was a big part of it. You had American sliced cheese in there.
Kimchi and spam and noodles and some sort of broth.
Specifically dried like ramen
Yes.
noodles.
Yeah, not like we're not talking fancy noodles. We're talking whatever packets you got, and it had and you used the sauce packet from the actual ramen noodles.
I think there was some mushrooms and some bok choy in there, and that was probably the fanciest ingredient in the whole soup.
Probably.
But
Oh.
But there's
was
nothing
great.
wrong with that.
it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And like the chef even came out and said that this is super awesome. The longer you let the soup boil, because like they bring it out in one big pot with a burner on your table, and they're like, the longer you let it go, the more amazing it's gonna be. The best bites of this soup are gonna be your last bites. And
Yeah.
it was true. It was great.
Do they put egg on it? Sometimes they put egg on it.
I can't remember.
It's all good. I'm sure it was delicious anyways.
It was amazing. It was great.
I haven't had Korean soups and stews in a little while.
Yeah, but that was my first time ever having spam, and I gotta say, it definitely added to the soup. It definitely added to the meal. It was good.
Nice. Nice.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
If you miss Japan or want to go but haven't had the chance yet, come to Oomomo to get a feel of Japan. Oomomo is a nationwide Japanese lifestyle store carrying over 25,000 different products at affordable prices. You can find Japanese snacks, stationery, beauty and cosmetics, ceramics, cookware, electronics, toys, which are all imported from Japan. We're happy to have a booth in Otafest this year, and we'll offer a free Oomomo tote bag when you spend $20 or more at our booth. Please check out our unique and fun products at oomomostore.com or at our Calgary location in Pacific Place Mall. We hope to see you there. You know what else is really good, though?
What?
Mini eggs. I could eat.
Oh, I cannot wait.
I could
cannot
eat
wait for when those are on discount in
so
like a few days.
many mini eggs. In fact, by the time you are hearing this, dear listener, all of the discount mini eggs are probably sold out. That's a lie. Mini eggs never go on discount.
That's sad.
I've observed
wouldn't
this
they?
before. Every single Easter candy will go on discount except for the mini eggs.
So I have two things about, let's say, holiday candy. One is that sometimes, especially for things like Valentine's Day, where things are packaged in a like a festival appropriate packaging, such as like a heart or something other shape, but you don't necessarily, reconcile that with other holidays. That's the time, my advice here, that's the time to get fancier chocolate or fancier treats, because I can get like Ferrero Rocher in a heart-shaped box, and I think in a heart-shaped box there's about 8 to 10 pieces for like half price, not because the product inside is bad, but because the packaging has betrayed them and they can't use it for Easter or some other generic thing.
It's true. But at the same
And
time,
it's great.
I find that specifically Valentine's Day packaging is really deceptive. Like those heart-shaped boxes, they're almost always a very small box with just a big
There's so much
heart-shaped
space
cardboard.
in there.
Like
For different
you
products,
would
yeah, there's a
think
lot
that
of empty
there's
space.
so much more chocolate in it than there really is, and that's just
Oh, yeah.
disappointing. It's sadness. Like you get the
What the
heart-shaped
heck?
box.
It's like getting a giant box from Amazon and seeing only your tiny thing inside it. It's just
It's there for the kitschiness, the silliness of having the
look.
heart-shaped
The
box. You give
novelty.
that away, you give the novelty, and it's like, okay, I don't care. I don't care about the actual chocolates because I just gave the chocolates away. I care that it's shaped in the shape of a heart, and I gave it to the person on the Valentine's Day, and that's the important part. You are paying for the box, and once the discount comes into it, you are no longer paying for the box because the box is worthless after that day.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's what's going on there.
Yep.
I would also say that for things like Easter chocolate, which is unlike Valentine's, which is sort of known because it's like a romantic inclination that the meal and the desserts and the treats of Valentine's are a little bit more decadent. Easter chocolate is some of the cheapest chocolate that you will get.
Oh, absolutely.
I know. Did either of you ever have the not the mini eggs, but like they were little chocolate eggs, but they're wrapped in colorful foil?
Yes, those are total crap.
And
Oh,
yeah,
I absolutely love those.
they taste
They're
awful.
Literally garbage tier chocolate.
They're garbage
They smell
chocolate.
like chocolate. They smell
But they
like cocoa.
also cost
But
like 3 cents per thing, and you get a bag
yeah.
of like 50 of them for like $2.
Those things literally coat my mouth in wax. It's just
They're not good,
Now,
but
No.
they
here's the
are
crazy
sort of
thing.
nostalgic.
Some of them are worse than others, and you have no idea
True.
until you actually open it up.
Yeah.
It's like
Absolutely.
Schrodinger's chocolate egg. Is it palatable or is
Yeah.
it actual trash?
I will say, when we're talking about mini eggs, I don't really know Cadbury to be like an amazing chocolate company, but I'm sure like their mini eggs are decent. I found that with some store brand of their mini eggs, which do exist, they're fine. They're like they have the hard shell coating. The chocolate inside is of comparable quality because, again, Easter chocolate is low tier chocolate. Another like example of that is that when you get as a kid, for the most part, I don't think adults get them very often. When you get those chocolate bunnies for
the
Easter,
hollow ones.
and they're mostly hollow because they're willing to cheap out because it's just not something they care to market. They're just like, let's put out some chocolate. What do we have from 3 years ago that's left in one of the warehouses? Put it out. It's fine.
So, I used to feel like really cheaped out by the hollow bunnies, and then I can't remember when it started, but they actually started advertising Easter bunnies that were meant to be solid. Like they were having that as the selling point, and I tasted one of those, and it was actually the waxy garbage chocolate that I legitimately could not stand. It is literally, it's like, yeah, you made it solid, but it's solid trash. It's solid garbage. Why do I even want this? And so there are some Easter bunnies that are made of fancier chocolate. They are the hollow kind, unfortunately. But quite frankly, because they're hollow, they're easier to bite into. They have a reasonable price point. They taste decent. They're still cheap chocolate. I'm talking about they're the higher end of cheap chocolate.
Well, it's that one brand called Allen or something. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Mildly.
yeah, I'll throw it up in the Discord once I find the logo, and once you see it, you'll be like, "Ah, my brain!"
Oh no.
You'll have a brain blast back nostalgia.
Great.
Here it is. I found it. It's posted.
Yes.
Once you see the logo, you're like, "That's it. You know it. You know it intimately."
Yes. No, I hate that brand.
No.
They are specifically the ones that made the Mr. Solid Easter bunny that I could not stand.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, imagine
God.
calling an Easter bunny, a chocolate Easter bunny, Mr. Solid. I'm sorry, but
getting
there's an
reflux.
innuendo there. And that's,
Yeah, I'm
There's
getting
a
acid
weird-
reflux from seeing this packaging. It's
There-
oh.
There was another better, I think, brand of Easter chocolate, or at least not brand's not the right word. It's like the Mr. Solid, but I think it was like Peter Cottontail had like a chocolate thing, but I think it was also a hollow one, but I think the chocolate was slightly better. I don't really remember. Can I throw us into a little bit of a spiral here? Because this is
Do
a
it.
topic we don't talk about normally.
do it.
So Easter, right?
Yes.
Easter, for those who may be either religiously inclined or at least have some knowledge of Easter, and it's, religious significance, celebrates the rebirth of Christ, right? Jesus Christ, which is like, it's a thing, clearly.
Clearly.
But something I don't understand is, and we don't want to get into the rabbit hole of talking about Christmas's origins and its historical accuracy, but we can all sort of agree when Jesus was born. But why does Jesus' death move around?
When your boy's resurrecting from the grave, is the date really important? He could do that at any point in time.
It's
Let's be
weird,
real.
though.
I know.
It's the
No, it
December
doesn't make
25th
sense.
is when he was born, but we can't do a hard death.
Well,
is
to be
strange.
fair, I'm going to throw a wrench into that. December 25th is not actually the day of Christ's birth either.
I said that earlier.
I know, and it's just like, well, you can only
Just want some consistency.
blame so much of it on historical, because like there's also the whole like, when religion attempts to overtake other prevalent belief systems, what they do is they
Sure.
create compromise holidays, and that was how that one happened. And it's
Compromise day.
That's why
Yeah.
that's why we celebrate Jesus becoming a lich with a bunny made out of chocolate. Clearly, they're the same thing.
Lich takes terrifying forms.
Well, let's be real. A lot of people say that Jesus was a zombie, but he wasn't a zombie. He kept his sense of reason. He kept his magic powers. He became a lich. Let's be real.
Jesus comes back on Easter Monday, right?
Yes, something like that.
Is that the thing? Like that's the third day, and he resurrects on the third day. But the day that he died, they call it Good Friday. That's messed up.
a little bit. A little bit, yes.
When's the day that when he comes back, he's like, when's the day that? What'd you guys call it? I mean, you called Christmas the day when I was born. That's kind of nice. What'd you call it when I died?
Oh,
And the Pope is just
Oh.
like,
that was a good Friday. Hell
It
yeah.
was a Good Friday.
Well, I'm no
Nice
theologian.
Friday.
I'm no theologian, but I'm sure if someone had actually studied the history of all these things, they could give us some good answers. And I'd be
Oh, I'm
really interested
sure.
to hear those.
We are three merely unintelligent,
We are
We
three
are the
plebeians.
Unlearned
uneducated
masses.
podcast hosts.
We are the unlearned masses. We are the masses who do not go to mass.
Yeah,
This is also true.
it's true. It's been a long time since I've been in a church.
It's been a long time since I did an Easter egg hunt. I think the last time we did that was literally in elementary school.
I didn't know if they still did those. I still assume Halloween that tradition's
I mean,
dying off
the egg
too.
hunt thing is more for we hid some treats. Please find them.
You know what though? When it is this snowy out, when everything is blanketed with fluffy white snow, do you really want to color the eggs? I feel like it would really make the egg hunt harder if you just left them alone.
Wouldn't it be?
It would
But you're
save
dumb
me
and you
time.
no, Angelo. But you're dumb and you hide brown eggs.
Aw.
You're like, oh, I'm so smart. I won't even paint them. But you bought brown eggs. Do people paint brown eggs, or is it white the only template?
I mean,
that
you
we-
can paint brown eggs, but why would
I've
you?
seen people engrave brown eggs, which is a very dicey practice already.
Yeah, I've seen that too. It's pretty crazy.
It's cool what you can do. Don't get me wrong. Back in the day when we used to actually, well, like Angelo and I actually, I guess, when we used to actually go into the office for work daily and then come home, back when that was normal, coming home was like an instant drop everything on the floor, go upstairs, change into comfy clothes, wash face, take contacts out, whatever. And it was just like, yep, gremlin, rest of the evening, don't talk to me.
Exactly.
I had to deal with people in the office today. So gremlin hours was like every evening after work, unless I was going out somewhere. But then,
I'm interested because I'm going for the last 4 years I've been working 12-hour shifts, right? And I'm
Right.
going back to 8-hour shifts, to normal working human hours,
ooh,
and I'm just
congratulations on your graduation.
wondering what the hell I'm going to do with all the extra time in my day. The reality is that I'll have enough time to cook a nice dinner. There will be days that I can actually stream after work.
Woo!
And
Wild.
the one downside is that I get one less day off per week. I'll have to work 5 days a week instead of 4 days a week.
I mean, if your new position lets you, you could do 4 days of 10 hours, and then you'll still have a 3-day weekend.
Unfortunately not. It's the kind of job where the majority of the job is just being there in case something happens. So it's, for the most part, you are there even if you're not doing anything there during the prescribed hours.
It's like being on call.
It's like being on call but on site.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
My office is doing a big reopening thing coming up soon, so they're setting up a bunch of events where people can actually get in touch with other humans at the office. Like, apparently about 50% of the company has never actually worked in office by this point.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of insane.
Was there that much turnover during
pandemic? Yeah. The
Wow.
Great Resignation most certainly happened.
Oh my god.
And I came into the company rather than, leaving the company. So a lot of people are in the same boat as me, where it's like, you've never actually worked in a group setting in the office on a quote unquote normal workday. So, I mean, obviously this isn't going to override anyone's personal preference or need to avoid the office for health reasons, personal reasons, whatever you may have. But, like, it's interesting now that they have published this metric that 50% of my coworkers have never been in the office, ever. It's insane to me. Kind of cool.
It sounds like they're trying to kick you guys and being like, hey, nerds, learn how to socialize. Come to the office. Make friends face to face.
It's not so much that. The main concern that the CEO talked about was that she was concerned that people are starting to lose their sense of empathy with each other.
Oh, that's fair.
And it was like, yeah, I could see how that might happen if you're like I can see how that would happen if you're new to a company, you're not exposed to, the company at large, and you're not an introvert. As an introvert, or someone who leans a little bit more, I'm kind of in the middle somewhere, but I probably lean a little bit more to the introvert side. It doesn't really bother me. I've been able to, create some very good and strong relationships with my immediate cohort of coworkers that I do work with on a day-to-day basis. But I could totally see how this would affect some of the larger umbrellas, because I'm actually off in a slightly smaller umbrella of the company. The larger umbrellas of the company are probably struggling with this, and this is not something that I would have known if the CEO hadn't called attention to it.
Oh, damn. That's
crazy.
Pretty fair.
So yeah, very interesting shift, I guess, as everyone attempts to reopen again, pending good weather, allowing for more outdoor activities where people can socialize more safely. But it's going to be an interesting week, I think.
That will be. That really will be.
Also, it'll be leading right up to Calgary Expo, so I'll get to practice talking to a lot of new faces and people that I've never met before about what I do in my spare time.
So this company thing is like a dress rehearsal for your panels at Calgary Expo.
Basically, yes. I also had the same panel at Comic Expo last year, but I was significantly less rusty last year.
Man,
I know, right?
Out of curiosity, how does it feel talking to normies about being a voice actor? I feel like that's the kind of thing that normies, as it is, would actually be kind of interested in.
Well, it's interesting because I don't think when you tell someone who's very removed from either the Comic Expo scene or the anime convention scene, if you're very removed from all that, when you tell someone you're a voice actor, they just go, oh, you work on cartoons. And it's like, yes, as one of 15 other things that I do with my voice. And they're like, oh. And like it isn't until you start listing off like pretty much anything that has a human voice behind it or accompanying it that they're like, oh, yeah, that is actually a pretty big field. Never thought about it. Hey, do you want to work on a project with me?
No, that last part
For
is super
exposure.
Yeah, no, not always for exposure. Sometimes it's not super often that this happens, but sometimes they start asking, you know, sort of the touchier questions like, how much do you charge per hour? And if that discussion actually goes somewhere very interesting and relevant to them, sometimes it might go to, so I'm a writer and I need someone for an audiobook, or I'm a writer and I need some marketing materials for something that I work as a writer on, because like pretty much everything has writers on it. Films, video games, they all have writers. So, you know, that sort of is one of the many ways that can sometimes go. But yes, sometimes I get like very glassy stares, and that's fine. I don't always understand the intricacies of like the medical field, for example.
Question.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
What is the highest rate you've ever heard of in the voice actor industry?
The highest rate?
Yes.
That is really difficult to answer because when voice actors charge, and this is actually something that I do talk about in the panel, so this is kind of a sneak peek. When voice actors who manage their own accounts and finances are negotiating rates, they are not only negotiating for how much they will be charging per recording time, but also for editing time, if applicable, studio rental rates, if applicable, if you don't have like a home studio of your own and you still have to, you know, actually rent studio time, for example. The cost of tools, if any, and that also can apply to things like sound effects, Foley, music, like all of those things. If we're mixing all of that into whatever you're asking from us, we still have to go and license those. So that falls under tools. And then there's also rights. Usage rights is a very complicated issue, but I can boil it down to how long do you plan to use my voice for and on what platforms? Depending on a variety of variables, that can be a much, much more expensive package and one that has to be renewed every year, or it can be like a blanket, you know, you pay me this fee and you can use this particular clip, you know, indefinitely. And it really does depend on what you're doing with it, where it's being heard, how often it's rolling. If it's like a radio ad, there's very specific rates for that. So it's a very large topic.
For example,
I can't
someone
say
wanted to
a number
use-
for that.
if someone wanted to use your voice for like alerts on their Twitch stream, for example, it wouldn't cost very much versus, let's say, someone wanted to use your voice as the main character in a gacha game that's already raking in $1 billion a year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would be like those things are on very, very different magnitudes. Like and I have done sound effects for streamers. Some of them are not PG-13. Some of them are. But, you know, they're very happy. It's very much like commissioning someone for emotes for your Twitch stream. You pay someone for work, and then they either agree or they don't agree for you to use that for however long, if there is like a limitation on the time that they would want it. I have never come into contact with an artist who's like, well, I only really want you to use this avatar, for example, for like a year, and then maybe we can revisit it.
Exclusivity rights.
Exclusivity rights is a thing. And then there's also the ask of, if it is a commercial project, very often you can't use the same thing over and over anyway. So those ones have shorter negotiation periods, like 3 months, 6 months. And then when it's time to revisit, we also throw in a bunch of things like, oh, let's touch up your campaigns. Let me touch up a couple of lines for this new thing that you're doing. Do we have needs for any other new things? Do we need to retire some? Like, there's sort of an ongoing relationship there of content. So anyway, it's a very complicated topic, but I'm really glad you asked, because this is probably something that people will want to know.
That actually is a lot more complicated than even I thought. Yeah. That's a deep field for the business.
Otafest pays over half its budget to Nancy just to be on this podcast. So we should probably end it before she costs us any more.
I know. I am the big money.
But she's worth it, damn it.
thank you, Umomo, for sponsoring this episode so we can afford to have Nancy here.
It's true. It's much appreciated. Well, we'll see you at Calgary Expo.
We will. Come say hi.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
See you there.
Sit